7 sisters in Warren County share more than DNA. They also each received the same medical diagnosis as adults. News Channel 6's Renetta DeBose shares how the Ficklin family is touched by cancer.
We have a fighting chance against breast cancer. So that's one of the things that we've been pushing for.
The Ficklin sisters spend their spare time trying to educate people in their Warrenton hometown about cancer.
You'll be at the Circle of Care next Thursday, yeah.
Pauline, Emma, and Iris are part of the force behind an organization mobilizing the CSRA's medical community to shine a light about cancer screenings and keeping the faith if you're diagnosed.
It was a taboo word when I was growing up. You couldn't say that word unless you whispered it.
Back in 1991, 71-year-old Pauline Wilson, who was 39 at the time, was feeling pain in her left shoulder. It was breast cancer.
Oh, I thought I was finna die.
But she lived. Surgeons performed bilateral mastectomy, and then more devastating news.
2 years later, I got it in the other breast.
After a second mastectomy, chemotherapy, and radiation, she's now cancer-free. But the disease, more than 264,000 women are diagnosed with each year, touched 6 of her sisters: Betty Jean, Marlene, Emma, Maddie, Iris, and Annette. 3 have died.
Remove my right breast.
68-year-old Iris Bray says it was a knot in her chest that alerted her and her family something was wrong. She now gets checked every 3 months. Emma Sinkfield is now well enough to be checked annually.
After I buried my son in August, my annual mammogram came up in September.
But the 70-year-old says it didn't start that way. Her results were initially negative, but her doctor stood firm. He knew he saw breast cancer.
I was HER2 positive and all of that, so I had a very aggressive cancer. It was in the 3rd stage, and 5, not only were those 2 malignant in my breast, there were 5 malignant lymph nodes under my arm.
After a lumpectomy, chemo, medication, and radiation, she's a 9-year cancer survivor. But cancer didn't stop with their generation. Remember we mentioned Sinkfield buried her son a month before her mammogram? Jonathan Ficklin. He too died from cancer at age 39. We caught up with the doctor who treated him at Georgia Cancer Center.
A rare cancer and a very peculiar cancer called amyloidosis.
Dr. Jalala tells us amyloidosis starts in the bone marrow and cells produce a protein that deposits into the kidney, heart, and liver, causing kidney failure and congestive heart failure, illnesses Sinkfield says her son endured.
This deposit had gone into his kidneys, and the way they pulled him through that was they put him on dialysis.
If you catch it at an earlier stage, and if it's a younger patient who has a good functional status, you can give them what is called a stem cell transplant. And if it works well, you can prolong patient's life.
In Warrenton, Renetta DeBose, WJBF, News Channel 6.